Welcome to In the Zone with Chris Zander, where we talk lifestyle, entrepreneurship, self-care, and much more. So go grab a drink or a snack and come on back because it is now time to get in the zone. My guest today is Memphis, Tennessee native. He's an entrepreneur. He's a motion creator artist, and he has so many different talents. And I welcome my brother, my blood brother, Kenneth Wayne Alexander II. How are you, Kenneth?
Man, Steven, how you doing, man?
I cannot complain. It's good to see you. It's crazy because we've never done this before. So
Yeah.
I'm just excited just to be in the same atmosphere, just feeling the energy of creativity.
No, absolutely. And I've been watching your growth. I've been seeing what you've been doing with your podcasting to news reporting to your journey in communication. It's been great, bro. I'm proud of you. Really proud of you.
I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. So we're going to start off right off. So you are a Memphis, Tennessee native. You grew up in South Memphis. I'm curious to know what that experience was like for you as a young child.
I would say that it was very, very loving and also very, very grounding too at the same time. And I was able to make a lot of friends. I was walking, of course, to elementary school and just making up different stories about this little patch of woods that was right near the corner, saying there was a dog in there. They'll come take you away if you go too far in that thing. And it was full of imagination, and people would not, I guess, expect that from South Memphis. But in my opinion, I guess that's where my creativity started.
Got you.
I had a yellow notepad that my mother gave me, and I had a pencil and a pen, and I used to draw Street Fighter, Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, like the whole 9 yards, like in that small notepad, and that pretty much started my journey as an artist. But growing up down there, every place comes with their pros and cons. Like it was a lot of things that happen around there,
Yeah.
but nothing that would deter me to go another path.
Yes, absolutely. So, let's talk about that. People have this bad mentality and this, I guess, the stereotype in regards to Memphis, right? And growing up, as you said, it's bad everywhere. And you saw things happen, but how was that influence of seeing all those bad things? How did that help propel you to say, you know what, I want to take a different path? Like, what in your brain allowed you to do that, if that makes sense? What motivated you to do that?
I guess being stubborn, being very bullheaded about the things I wanted to do.
Mm.
And I guess it was just in me to keep making things.
Yeah.
And keep exploring rather what this could just be. Like, I wasn't even thinking as a career. Like, I was 4 or 5 years old. I wasn't thinking about no career. I was just thinking about what could I make in this moment in time. And that allowed me to expand my mind in a way where I didn't have to be linked in to any negativity that there was going on around there.
Yeah.
Like, things happen, things happen. And I even lost a friend early, in my earlier years. Like, he was shot really on the street that connected Hazelwood and King Street.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched his brother literally, just go through depression. I know what depression was at that time. I know why he was not wearing a coat in the wintertime. I know what that was, but as I got older, like everything started making more sense, like why things happened the way they did,
Yeah.
So, and I'm blessed to be around such a loving family. Like, what I'm saying? Like my mother always there for me, what I'm saying?
Let's
Like,
talk about that, actually. We have to give credit where credit is due.
absolutely.
You grew up in a single parent household. Your mother raised you. I did as well.
Hmm.
We have the same father. We have different mothers, just to
Hmm.
clarify that. But I'm curious to know how your mother was such an influence in your creativity and you being the best child that you could be for her and just collectively for yourself and setting you up for your best self in your future and in your artistic endeavors.
I would say my mother never limited us. She would be a very supporting voice in whatever we wanted to do. If it was, football when I was, playing sports, she was supportive. In martial arts, supportive. And when I broke it down and figured out that I wanted my art to be my leading passion to become a trade, it's tough because you don't see a lot of success. Like, you don't see a lot of artists being successful around you, but she still believed in what I felt and what I was doing. And I was able to, make my own mistakes and
Mm-hmm.
learn from them. And she was there to give me any kind of advice that I needed, whether it was harsh or whether it was, I won't say harsh, just very, very
Yeah,
honest growth that helped me to become a better man at the end of the day.
absolutely.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I got to give my credit to my mama. Like, she, man, she held it down for a long time. And yeah, I also got to give credit to my siblings. You know,
Yes.
uh,
Ashley, we have a mutual sister, Ashley. I don't know if she's watching or when she watches, but
right,
hey,
right.
Ashley, how you doing? Also, your sister Tia, on your mom's side. So, like, it's you three growing up in the same household, and how have you seen just the collectively the influence of your mother with all three of you guys?
No, man, it's a blessing. I mean, my two little sisters are some of the funniest, smart people out there I know. You know what I'm saying? And my brother is one of the most creative people
Oh,
that I
that's
know.
right. You have a brother too. I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, like we all grew up really close, so we just learn from each other. We are all our own individuals. Like, none of us are the same, which I really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to talk about your experience going to high school. First, I want to
Hmm.
ask this though. At what age did you know that art is where you needed to be? That's where you had a passion for, and that's what you went for. What age did you know that?
Um, I guess it would have to be when I was in middle school in the seventh grade when I had Mr. Johnson's class at Kirby Middle. When I first, that was my first standard course within drawing. That's when I was learning figure drawing, basic anatomy, and just understanding the process of becoming an artist. And I saw that as a way to not only preserve memory, but to become good at something that was very personal to me, which
Yeah.
was being very in tune with my thoughts and how I express my thoughts in a very not just creative way, but in a very expressive way. And when I went to Overton, that's when it really sunk in. I was able to go there because I created this portfolio from hand, and I made a compilation of different paintings and color pencil pieces of different anime that I like or any persons I was drawing at the time all into one portfolio folder.
Yeah.
I presented them to the actual teachers at Overton, and I was in. I was in. And so I was getting on the bus outside of my jurisdiction just to go to Overton
Yeah.
and accomplish that. Like I would get dropped off at the bus stop to go to school and things like that. And it was one of the best experiences I had in my life as an artist because I was able to meet other artists, and my friends from Overton from the 500 building are still my friends to this day.
Yeah.
And we all helped each other. We all helped build our talent, our skill, and what does it mean to be an artist. And
Yes.
one of the best teachers that helped me understand what it means to be a working artist was Miss Burton. I don't know if she's still teaching now, but
Why was she so influential in your career? Why was she such a big part of that?
because she told me one thing. She told me that if you love what you're doing, sell it so someone else can love it more. And I was like, oh, okay, that's not a bad piece of information like to run with, because I was able to start early in my separation with my art I do as a hobby and an art I want to show to the world. It's because that's a very hard thing to do for an artist, is to, because it's still a very vulnerable thing. Like each time I post or have an exhibition, it's still a very nerve-wracking thing because it's a very vulnerable thing. But you end up getting used to that vulnerability because you build up that strength over time to, showcase what you have. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
through theory, like the theory that you make and things like that. But going back to high school, yeah, I learned a lot in that class, especially when it came to painting. That's when I really got into painting in high school, because I was more so a drawer for a long time. I like color pencils, charcoal, graphite pencils were my go-to for a very long time, until I started learning more about surrealism and Salvador Dali and Magritte and El Greco, different old masters from the early Italian Renaissance to the Northern Renaissance to even to different Northern African art.
Yeah.
And it was a very enriching experience for the mind, because I was able to expand out in other directions. And that's when I
Yeah.
started to want to incorporate seeing things move, because on top of that, I am a producer.
Right.
And,
Let's talk about that. So you are known for your emotion art, right?
yeah.
So what exactly is that? How did you create that? Because like you just mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
you have so much knowledge about different forms of art, but from a producer standpoint, to be able to create motion art, like
Mm-hmm.
that takes major talent. So how did that come about?
I wanted to see my art move with my music. I wanted, well, to go back, I also have synesthesia. Like I see sounds in my head. And when I incorporate that with the knowledge I have as a painter and a collage artist, I can put those inorganic shapes and patterns into a physical thing. Whether it becomes, whether case in point, if a string arrangement is more dynamic or chaotic, depending on what the song is being called for, I could use a storm, or I could use a river, or I could use the mountains for drum and bass for the foundation of the song. And I will build on top of those concepts to where I create my own theory. And it was through practice. It was through me understanding what it means to be a creator and also a visionary at the same time. And I was doing this back in 2005.
Whoa.
Back when there was no training for this. Like the
Yeah.
only training I had was my training in basic digital art, like very basic digital art, and my knowledge and my technique and my traditional art style, and in my skills in production. Everything mixed into one. So my different talents can live in the same place, and
Heck
I able to
yeah.
create a whole entire art style over the years.
Absolutely. I listen, that is number one, that's inspiring to hear. And number one, I gotta give you this credit too. Like that's a whole different level of that's a different tax bracket in reference to like the thought process of
Mm.
creativity. Because to be able to do that is back in 2005, digital stuff was not like where it is now. And to be able to be ahead of your time and all these different experiences and production experiences. And let's go here too. You also create music. You're into music. So can you talk about that experience as well?
Oh yeah. Well, my older brother Robbie is a producer. I was always around music, always around it. And I also played the cello back in way back in the day when I was in elementary school at Balmoral. I played the cello for about 3 years, and I'm really liking it. And I started to get into production when I would go and sneak and use my brother's equipment when he wasn't there, type thing. Well, I'm pretty sure he knew I would use it, but he probably wasn't saying nothing. But I would, sit in different studio sessions with my brother, his group, The Machine, Wiz, just different people that love music just as much as I did, and just hearing so many different sounds and to be able to compose them in a way to where you're creating something completely new from what you're hearing is always a very beautiful thing to me. And so
Yeah.
I was I was already just in trance as I am as being a painter and a drawer when I started using soundboards, and I was able to pull from different producers that I like, No ID, Just Blaze, Kanye West, ooh, let's see, Crisis, Black Milk, of course Jay Dilla, piece of Jay Dilla, to Jay Dilla, New Jabez, just different producers that I still listen to this day, and there was a heavy inspiration to my style.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to talk about this. I want to make sure that I get this right. So,
Mm,
okay, your creativity has afforded you many great opportunities, as we know. Your
mm,
artwork has showcased on numerous television series, two of those series being season 2 of Bel Air, okay, on Peacock, and Truth Be Told on Apple TV Plus. I'm curious to know, how was this exposure for you and seeing yourself
mm.
and your artwork out on television and stuff like that? How did you get there? Number one, how did you get to that point? And then number two, how does it feel to look back and see your stuff just out there?
Man, that is that's a very loaded question. I would have to start when I got my first show at the Brooks Museum of Art back in 2015. Like that really kicked off my art career in a way to where I was able to do over 20 exhibitions in the time span of 2015 to 2019. No, 20. And when I tell you I was working like crazy, just doing 3 to 4 exhibitions a year, creating different theories for each one of those, being on panels, talking about the very thing we're talking about now. Um, what else I was doing? Commissions, traveling, just making sure that my art career went where it needed to. And I was also working a regular job at that time too. So
Gotcha.
I was not sleeping, to say the least. I was
Yeah.
not sleeping at all. I was always working on something because I knew I had to work 4 times as hard, not only to get a leg in the race, but to make my art career a real thing. Because being in a region of the US that where art moves slower, you have to move faster. And it taught me a lot. I mean, I burnt myself out numerous times doing this, just being too stubborn to sit down and too stubborn to listen to my own body at times. But I was able to push through. I was able to get through like the hard times and just the different headaches that being a work artist can bring, because at one point it doesn't matter about your talent. It just matters about how bad you want it out here, and how hard you're gonna work to get it. And I worked hard to get it.
No, yeah. Like, no, seriously. If you have, and I think that's cool. And I also think what's so cool about your experience and just working with different television shows and working as a set designer and just different stuff. We'll get there as well. But you carry yourself, you don't have to explain who you are, if that makes sense. You don't go around saying, I'm an artist, my work has been on, all these different shows, Bel Air and Truth Be Told, and just all this different stuff. Like, you don't have to say that. You just walk into a space and just be, right? So I'm curious to know where even that stems from, because there's a level of humility within yourself. Although you've done big things. Where does that stem from?
Man, always being hungry, to be honest. Always being on what's next. And I've also got, man, frustrated by me and my friends by just sit down and celebrating what I did. And I've gotten better with it over the years, but for a while I was always on to the next thing, because I was like, man, what if this stops, like, just right then, like what if nothing else happens? Like, because I feel like if I stop, then everything else will stop.
Yeah.
And I really want to keep things pushing for me as a creative, well, as a man in general.
Yeah.
And I know that, and I also know that success is built around people, so I really just want to show just people that we can still be humans at the end of the day, but we'll also do incredible things. Like, I have artwork in Beijing now. I have artwork in Turkey. I have artwork in Paris, and those are all incredible things. I never been to any one of these countries, by proxy at all, but my artwork is, and that allows me to set even higher goals, so I can go see my work. And so now I have to do what I need to do just to go see my work in other countries, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, it does. And let's talk about this. So your work is also in the metaverse. How does that happen? How does that happen?
That was crazy. I was able to become a member of this new metaverse group called S1C World, that's ran by Miguel, and I joined in to be to hold one of the founding members NFTs in my wallet through MetaMask. And they hosted a competition to where if you submit your artwork, you will be in the next NFT drop for the S1C World showcasing. And I submitted some of my work, and I was chosen by Miguel himself, along with 3 other artists, to show in the opening of his At Peace on Fire exhibition And so the drop will be in 6 days. So the drop will be on April 12th, and that will prepare us for the main launch that's going to be at NYC NLT Week in summertime this year.
Yeah. Oh, congratulations, by the way. Like, that's huge. Congratulations to that. Like, for real.
Yeah.
And, I want to talk about this. I want to go back a little bit with your experience in working set design, right? You've worked with a few shows, NBC shows, and just different shows. I'm curious to know, what was that experience like, and what was the first show you worked on?
The first show I worked on was Blood City Law. She's my ex now, but my girl at the time, we were working on the same show together, and she actually put me on to the show because she was like, I think you'll do well with set design. I said, I give it a shot, and so I gave it a shot. I ended up really liking it, and it was a very rewarding experience, and it was a lot of like the hours you work in set design is crazy. Like absolutely insane. It could range from 12 to 16 a day, depending on what it is. And I think since the worker strike, they kind of reduced that, which is really good. But I was working before that happened, so we was in there.
Oh my goodness!
But I did learn a lot about the film industry, and I wanted to see if I could, possibly like have all work on the show. And I started making my own connections. And long story short, I got onto the next design I did was with this BT pilot called Curves. Like that was pretty cool. I don't think the show made it further than the pilot, but I still made some really good connections from that set as well. And on top of that, I was able to, still hold on my contacts from Blood City Law. And one of the coordinators from Blood City Law started working on, what was the first show she started working on? I think it was Truth Be Told. That was the first show I got on. That was the first show I got on with one of my paintings first.
Yeah.
And that was a really good look, because I'm like, okay, I can see my work on these different shows. Okay, cool. Like let's see what else we can do. And so she sent me this proposal for a Bel Air art piece to be on there, and they chose 2 of them.
Whoa!
I've been on Truth Be Told and Bel Air. I've been on every season so far. So yeah, it's been crazy.
Wait, do you get compensated for that, by the way? Do you get your checks in the mail?
Yeah. From Truth Be Told, yes.
Okay.
Bel Air was a wholesale.
Gotcha. Okay. Got you.
But Truth Be Told it's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
Got you. Listen, I just think it's cool because it's like that's awesome, and it just shows and proves that hard work and dedication can take you anywhere. You just have to step out of your own way and make it happen, and connecting with people and stuff like that. So I think that's really, really awesome. I want to ask you about this now. I want to talk to you a little bit about just life, right? Because one thing that we don't see a lot is people talking about their hardships. Oftentimes people see you and your success and everything you've done, but not having a clue about the hardships and the battles that it took for you to get to where you are. I'm curious to know, what were some of those battles and hardships, or people trying to stop you from being successful and being the creative that you are?
Just figuring out what a steady financial career in art, what does it look like for an artist to have that? And that was a really big struggle for a long time. Just surviving on what money I had for a number of months, trying to figure that whole thing out. Just, sacrificing time, traveling, whatever I need to do to, eat the next day, I had to, just work odd jobs, like work at well, I did have a set job for a minute, then end up getting laid off from that one and getting laid off. I actually got laid off at that job 2 weeks before I moved in here, actually. And I was able to make rent by selling my artwork in a matter of 3 weeks. Man, I was grinding to make sure that I made that happen. But and that was 6 years ago. So I've been here ever since, and just maneuvering through different jobs that either didn't either didn't either didn't fit my lifestyle, or just jobs I hated. And I worked jobs I hated.
Yeah.
Woo, man. And I wouldn't wish them my worst enemy, but it taught me to stay vigilant even through the hard times, because it's really easy to give up. It's really easy to do that. Like all I gotta do is just not do it. And each time, cause we all deal with our own demons, and each time that their voice will like just try to bring in my ear, I just punch in the face. Just and just keep going with better choices, and keep going with my thoughts on just volition and strength, and getting through these hard times the best way I can. And also having good people around me was a really, really, really good boon, because doing this thing we call art, or just living in general, and trying to find your own place, this whole thing, you can deal with a lot of things yourself and don't want to be a burden on anybody else, at least from me.
Yeah.
And I was blessed to be around people who were just as stubborn as I was and didn't want to hear none of that. and so I got to give respect to all my close family, my close friends, just people who helped me, just not stay in that darkness for so long.
Yeah, absolutely. And much respect to them. And I also appreciate that you see that and you value that, and you're able to state that, because none of us, especially those of us who are creatives, entrepreneurs, we don't get to where we are just by our own accord. There are people in our corner that gifted us the ability to build us up, right? And just give us nuggets to help fuel and propel us to be great. I'm curious to know, you come across so many people too, right? People see your artwork, and they see all of your talent, but there's also people who are envious, right?
Oh, yeah.
And jealous of you and your creativity. So I'm curious to know, for people who are in your shoes or new to this and trying to learn how to get rid of people like that and block, people out of that space, their creative space, how did you go about doing that, and how did you spot people like that?
I mean, people aren't that complicated, in my opinion, in the best way possible, because I have a cheat code, because being an artist makes me more of an empath at the same time. And so it's one way to allow your feelings to get to you, but it's another way to allow those, to allow the empathetic nature to be a signal for you. And you can really point some things out before you even engage even more with a person. At least for me, because I know being an empath can be weightful.
Yeah,
because you're holding a weight that's not yours pretty much all the time. And I was able to harness that and to train myself through meditation and in martial arts that a lot of fans don't show us. And whatever you're feeling like that's not make you feel comfortable at peace, there is it's probably something else under that. And oftentimes it is. I mean, I could be wrong, but oftentimes it's people who don't want to see you do well and be right there in your face. You know what I'm saying? And you can tell by body movements, you can tell by how people talk to you, like all that. Like it's a very subtle thing. And I'm able, well, I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but I'm really good at pointing it out oftentimes. And I just let them, just let them hate where they want to hate at, because what they're saying doesn't affect me. Like what they're saying, does it change my bank account? It don't change what I eat. It don't change none of that. So why would I care what you think? You know what I'm saying? So, and just let them be who they are. Like they're wasting their energy trying to hate on somebody they're not gonna stop. So go do your thing over there. I'm gonna keep creating. I'm gonna keep getting better with this, because I'm doing this for a way bigger reason than any of this. I mean, I want to build a legacy with this. I want to have a family where my children are proud of what their father has been doing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my goal. So why would I care what they think?
You know, this opens up the question. I'm going to go there because I can. I have that same mindset as well. I want to build my legacy for my kids, for my grandkids, for just life and people around me, and even our nieces and nephews. I see Bella, Jenna, and, little Terry, and I'm like, these are youngsters, right, who have the ability to look up to someone in their family. So why not set up a firm foundation for that? As you are aware, we have two different mothers and we have the same father, but I don't know what your experience is with him, but I know for me personally, he was kind of absent. So I always felt like I wanted to work towards building something for my family and not having to work or have my family feel like they're missing out on something. I want my kids to be proud of me and feel as if that I'm setting them up for their best selves. Do you ever feel that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, as sons, you want to learn from your father. You want to have that from your father. And when I was younger, yeah, I really sought that out of our dad, because like that was that was our father. But I also saw his actions at the same time. Like if you're more absent than anything, then what can I learn from you? Then how can I base anything that I learned about being a man from somebody who's not there? So I had to learn how to be a man of my own.
Yeah.
Like it's fine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I came to grips with that at a very young age. When I was 15 years old. I was like, you know what? It is what it is. Like it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because no matter what I say or want to hear from him, I mean, he'll I say when he talks, he'll talk to you, but only sparingly. You know what I'm saying?
It's very surface. It's yeah.
It's very surface. I mean, but that's just who he is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I have accepted that for who he is, and like now, I mean, like at my age now, I mean, I'm my own man now. Like we cool. You know what I'm saying? Each time we talk, it's like a good 5-10 minutes, right, real quick. But
that's bad too. Yeah,
it just is what it is now. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to dwell on it. I don't want to keep feeling like I lack something. You feel me? Because I was able to not only create my own art style, like it's around the world now, and I was able to do that out of my own volition, and I'm just happy that I was able to accomplished, like all about done, and have so many loving people around me already. Where I'm like, I'm not saying that he doesn't love us,
Right,
because
right,
I'm pretty
right.
sure he does. And I'm saying, well, what I'm really saying is he he's who he is, and I am who I am, and that's cool with me. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't,
Yes.
I don't want to change nobody, and vice versa.
And I want to
So
say this, bro. I want to say this. And for those watching and listening, you have to get to a space, especially when you're trying to elevate yourself. You cannot let the past hold you back. And oftentimes we're not at our best because of that, right? You have to be able to see situations and people and yourself and everyone involved as for what it is and respect it and move accordingly, move on, because life still goes on. So in closing, what advice could you give to any 20-something-year-old who is starting out in whatever endeavor that they're starting in? What advice could you give them now looking back? I'm not going to throw your age out there, but you're about 10 years older than me. So I feel like you got 10 years of experience that you can give to me and other people who are in their 20s.
I would say this: whatever thoughts that are holding you back, those are only fleeting thoughts. And wherever that you want to do in your life that's not harming anybody or harming yourself, go for it. And do not let the factors in front of you hold you back. There are ways to accomplish your goals in a way where you have to work, at it. But the in the long run, you become a better person because you are pursuing something that you want to do, not because somebody else told you to do this thing, or you just succumbed to this life that's being set in front of you. Because life will challenge you. Life is tough, but life is tough for a reason. Like it's tough to let you know that you can be a boon for somebody else in this tumultuous world. So
Absolutely.
that's the best advice I can give like anybody young, and just, man, keep grinding, keep going. Like just don't stop. Just whatever you're doing, just don't stop. Just keep going. I promise it's going to pay off in the long run.
Absolutely. Received. Okay. So where can our listeners and viewers find your work? What is your social media handle? Where can they find you? They want to look
But
for you. They're looking for you. Where can they find you?
they can find me on Instagram as Artwork of Alexander. They can find me on Twitter as Novi Artwork, Novi Artwork. And you can find my work on blackdove.com, which is my gallery based in Miami. So if you go to blackdove.com, type in my name, Kenneth Alexander, you'll find me.
Well, all right. Those listening, go out and check out my brother. Very talented, and he's already went far, and I can only imagine where he's going to be in the next 5 to 10 years. DJ Kenneth Wayne Alexander II, I appreciate your time. It was good to see you.
Man, good to see you too, Stephen. Man, keep grinding out here, man. Again, I'm proud of you. Keep going.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Well, those watching and listening, until next time.